What happens in the end? I am in a confusing situation. Is this infidelity, or is it deeper than this? He was having the LDS missionaries visit us every Sunday to teach the good word. I finally got baptized just back on October 23rd of last year. Something that my wife had been pushing for the last 5 years. But here is the rest of the story. They were coming over more frequently within the last 2 weeks before my baptism. They were coming over almost every day or every other day. Then I asked my wife why they were coming over so often. She said that they needed a place to unwind and to relax, where they felt like family. I then asked the bishop about these frequent visits, if this was okay. Since I was relatively new to the LDS religion, he told me that this was not proper behavior, and that this is not the way it is supposed to be. So he stopped the home visits. I haven't seen them around except for in church on Sundays. Fast forward a few weeks, I found out through members of the church that my family were visiting the missionaries around town. I asked my wife about this. She denied it all. One of her daughters slipped up and told me about a few of the visits. My wife found this out and told me that it was none of my business. Fast forward a couple weeks, I received my cell phone bill and saw that the amount due was almost twice as much as usual, and that the minutes were excessively over the limit. She says that there was nothing going on, but I knew better. My one-on-one time with her had diminished ever since the missionaries came into the picture. Here is a side note. I confronted her about the 14-year-old daughter and the 22-year-old missionary about their kissing. She totally denied it. I have written proof that this did happen. My wife would talk to this one missionary for great lengths of time on the phone, yet I could barely get 5 minutes of her time. I expressed my concerns over this. Her reaction was that she booted me out of the house. Just yesterday, she filed a protective order against me and shut me of the bank account and our home and auto insurance. Last night, she told me, in a chance encounter at the church, that she was filing for a divorce. I was not physically harmful to her, but I did punch 3 holes in the wall that I had totally repaired and repainted the entire entryway. I had a temper. It was rare that it came out, but when she kept hounding and hounding on me, I tried to tell her to please stop, but this did not work. I tried to leave, but she blocked my path of exit. I then exploded and she got the reaction that she wanted. By the way, she is also under a depression. She has been taking meds for depression and anxiety for longer than I can remember. She also suffers from PTSD. She claims that it was from her tour of duty in the military, but there are records of childhood trauma that predate the time in the military. She had written countless notes, letters and cards saying how wonderful I was, and how I can fix anything, and how she felt so inadequate. And why did she deserve me? Now, she is so cold that even her beloved father cannot get her to talk or come out of this pit of darkness. Something else to take into account. Her friends and family had told me that my wife is not the same woman that they have known, that she was a totally different person. She is not the woman that I had met 5.5 years ago. I don't know what to do other than to continue to go to counseling, ARP classes, and go to church. The church members are seeing the picture. I don't have to say anything. Comments: she is definitely having an affair. In the first place, the LDS is a patriarchal religion. It believes in the headship of the man. So obviously what your wife is doing has absolutely nothing to do with LDS. You need to go to your bishop, and he in turn needs to talk to the sending church and get these kids pulled out of the mission field. I personally doubt that they will do it though. They are more likely to try and cover it up. Any future conversations with your wife must be recorded with a voice-activated recorder. You must do this for your own protection. Next, you must separate your finances. Set up a new account for your paychecks. Cancel any credit card access that she has, because she can charge up anything and you will be responsible, unless you file for divorce. OP responds: ironically, I have already started to prepare myself for this. 2 days ago, I discovered that I was locked out of the bank account, so what money I had in there is basically gone. I will be setting up my own account at another bank today, as that yesterday. The person that I wanted to talk to was out of the office. Luckily, all I have is a Sears card, so I will take the steps to cancel or remove my name from it. My bishop had already taken steps to remove him from the area, but the last I know of, he is still active on the other end of the state. I do believe that there is a cover-up going on, but if I wish to be dirty, I will send several messages regarding this, along with the proof, letters involving both the missionaries and my wife and daughter. And if necessary, I will post them on the Utah major newspapers. But I am not sure of the legal ramifications that this will cause, but I believe, with the proof that I have the upper hand on this one. My wife had stated once, as to why the missionaries were coming over so often, is that she has not had the priesthood in the house for over 10 years, and that she wanted this so desperately. I think that she could not wait for me any longer and that she had taken her own steps to get it. I just found out last night that she had been excommunicated from the church because of what she had done to an ex-husband 10 years ago. I have gotten myself a recorder recently. I will be using it with any conversation involving my wife, or the church. I do not wish to be the bad guy, the dirty one, but I feel that I have to take the necessary steps to protect myself, especially if and when this comes to court. In the meantime, I am not sure that the local police can do anything, since this member had already moved, but I will take copies of my proof to the police and see what they can do. Who knows, maybe they can alert the authorities where he is. My wife will not like me for this, but since she had started the divorce, what all do I have to lose? After I closed my store last night, I went straight to the police station. With all the proof that I had, printed paper and a memory stick, the officer started to review the papers, but after 15 minutes of reading just the first few pages, he informed me that he will need more time to review everything. Unfortunately, he told me, unless there was more contact than just kissing and holding hands, there probably won't be enough to charge the things. But he did say for me to not lose hope. He did agree that this was very inappropriate behavior. He is not religious, but he still said that there must be boundaries. I feel a great weight lifted off of me when I did this. I am a man, and a father, who cares for his children. I was scared of reporting these incidents before, but with what my wife is doing now, I no longer have these restraints. But I am scared though. She uses to be in the Air Force during Desert Storm. She has guns and a history of anxiety and depression. She had been on at least 7 different types of antidepressants within the last 10 years that I am aware. I told him my story that happened a few weeks before of when I blew up at the 2 missionaries, when my wife was going to take them hiking while I worked on her Jeep, including my F-bombs, and for him to leave my property. One of the missionaries puffed up his chest and started to threaten me. Instead of me doing something terrible to him, I got in my truck and left the situation. The officer told me that I did good by leaving the situation, for that he may not have restrained himself as well as I did. She does not have a happy medium. She has to control the situation at all times, and her emotions are well out of the average range. She takes things to the extreme. Either she is extremely happy, or she is extremely sad, etc. My wife has just filed for a divorce. I am looking for tips or advice to try to stop it. I love my wife very much, and I feel that she is not making her decisions with a clear head. This is what her brother and a few of the church members are saying. I am not abusive, I am not a drinker. I have recently been baptized. I have taken in her kids as though they were my own. Even she will admit that I was a good father to them. What started this was my wife had allowed her 14-year-old daughters to date a 22-year-old man. Plus, I discovered soon afterwards that my wife had an EA, which started out innocently, and I confronted her about these things. She got really angry when I told her that I found out. Words were said that I wish that I could take them all back. Her family history is one that if the going gets tough, divorce begins. Her mother has divorced 5 times, her older sister has 3 times, her younger has twice, and my wife has twice, along with a couple of her aunts, her brothers, dad, even her mother. All have said that this was the easy way out. My mother-in-law has told me that if my wife files to fight her on it, she has never had anyone fight for her before. They are all in support for my wife and I to stop the divorce and have our marriage work out. If her father, mother, and brothers are trying to stop this divorce from happening, then that has to say something about me. I am not the most perfect person in the world, but neither is my wife. I am willing to look past her EA and her history, and to forgive her for everything. I want to do what I can to work this out with her. I am afraid for her kids and our daughter. They see what she is doing, so they will think that this will be normal behavior. I know that these girls of hers will fail in their relationships too, for their mother is the same as their grandmother and their aunts. I have already witnessed some of the same traits in 2 of her girls as their mother. I was hoping to break that cycle. This was what her family wanted. Someone who could provide stability in their life. I am afraid that the next guy she meets will end up the same way as me and her 2 last exes. She has developed quite the pattern. Maybe she will recognize this before it is too late. One of my biggest concerns is about the safety of the kids. She had severe postpartum depression back in 1999, after the birth of her 4th girl. She made a frantic call to her father and stepmother, telling them to come get her 4 girls before she drowned them in the bathtub. This was not her only incident. This also happened after the birth of her 1st girl back in 1994. Her parents had to take away her daughter because of certain issues. I was set out on a mission to save her from herself and her self-destructive behaviors. But I am realizing that I am not the one capable or qualified to do that. She is in need of some serious professional help. I told our bishop and my therapist that she needed someone a little more specialized. I will let go of her, but I will fight her on some of the personal property. She wants to keep the old 1965 Jeep, all of the power tools including the drill press, table saw, grinders, and all other hand and power tools. She also wants to keep all of the lawn and riding mowers, the rototiller, and all other yard power equipment. Her brother has no idea as to why she wants to keep them, other than for keeping control of my livelihood. She is losing control of part of her world, so I feel that she is grasping for anything that she can keep a hold of. I will decide to follow through with the divorce, but I will not go down without a fight. I love her still, and I forgive her for everything that she has done, but I will no longer remain dangling at the end of the rope like a carrot being led on by false hopes. I will let her family and friends deal with her. Maybe someday, they will be able to wake her up to reality before it bites her in the butt and takes a chunk of hide off. I did not find out most of this until towards the end of last December when we separated. I knew of some of her issues, such as her depression and her PTSD, but I had no idea as to the severity of them. When I first met her, she was a wonderful, caring, fun-loving gal, with a bunch of kids, 5 from 2 previous marriages. I should have sensed a red flag with the first 2 divorces. But I overlooked this. Yes, I was entertaining the thought that maybe she can see what she is doing wrong and would want to fix our broken marriage. Her family and friends come up to me every day or every other day and tell me that I was the best thing that she has ever had. One of her cousins even said that she was stupid. I feel humbled by this, but there is nothing that I can do to convince her to stop with the proceedings. She shuts down anyone who tries to talk to her, including her dad, mother, brother, friends at the church, even the bishop. My W had a meeting with the bishop last week, and he caught her in a couple lies, so her credibility is weakening. Luckily, I had hard evidence of her actions to prove that she did in fact do the things that she tried to deny. She is unaware of the proof that I have, for if she did, I am sure that the crap would have hit the fan sooner. I have an attorney who I am supposed to be meeting on the 14th of March. Due to his busy schedule, this was the soonest that I could see him. If I have to, I will get a second job to pay for him to fight her at every turn. I wonder if he can subpoena her mental health records. Thus far, I am unaware of her having an attorney, but then again, she surprised me the last time that we went to court. What she is wanting out of the divorce will drain me financially. With my money, combined with her other 2 child support orders, she will be sitting pretty. I will be sure to inform the judge that she does have other incomes. I will no longer pursue the thought of saving our marriage. I will follow through with the divorce, hopefully with help from an attorney. I didn't intend to remarry after my first wife, but I did, and now I am going through it again. I will never say never, for no one knows what the future holds for me. I don't plan on dating for a while, not until the dust settles and I get my life is back on track. I will be afraid of commitments. Unfortunately, the women my age, mid-40s, are in the mindset that they need to find someone to commit to because they think that they are losing their appeal. Plus, they think that the older they get, the less of a chance they have to hook up with someone. At least this is what I have been hearing anyway. Hopefully I will be proven wrong. I guess I can say that through this experience I can learn and grow to become a better person, to know what to do when a situation arises. Today, I am feeling a little more relieved. I am learning how to start letting go of her, and to move on with my life. I am learning to no longer allow her to be an anchor to my progress. Who knows, maybe someday I will find a girl who has more in common so that we can share more in the same interests. 3 months later, the final paperwork has been filed, and I am waiting for the judge to sign them off. Divorce mediation had gone better than I expected. I came out further ahead than I had expected. She kept a lot of my personal possessions, but I did not let this bother me. I told my W as well as the mediator that I was not there to fight over materialistic things. This was the first thing that upset her, for she no longer had a hold on me. There were many people, including friends and her family, who had thought that we could pull through this. But they weren't exactly surprised of the outcome either. They all tell me that she will come back around in due time, but I am not going to hold my breath either. Do I want her back? Maybe, but there will be some things that we will have to be worked out before this can even be considered. I still love her, and I always will. I wish her the best in life. She still has some issues from her past that she needs to work on, ghosts in the closet. As well as her family have told me that she has to learn to differentiate from reality and her Cinderella dream world. Her parents say that she is still expecting her Prince Charming to ride in and sweep her off her feet. She has traded me in for a younger model, half my age younger. I know that this will be short-lived once the dust settles. My closet is getting cleaned out. I have been shooing out the ghosts and sweeping the cobwebs out, getting ready for a new life. Divorce is hell, but if I keep my chin up, I will pull through okay. There are several members of my W's family who say that I am still a part of the family, and I feel humbled by this. I do not want to boast, but they all have said that I was the best thing that she ever had in her life. I appreciate all of their comments. Some of her children still consider me to be their dad. I have been there for them for almost half, if not more than, of their life. For those of you who are going through a divorce, hang in there. It does get better over time. I am no longer grieving like I used to. I have even been getting out more and doing new things. My life has been getting better every day. If you keep a positive note, you will prevail. What has been one of the best things of keeping a positive note? She can no longer get under my skin. Nothing upsets her more than not getting a reaction out of me. I just smile and brush it off. She uses dish out and feed off of my negative emotions. But now, she has nothing to feed off of. Maybe in time, her heart will soften, at least for the kids' sake. There are days where I still struggle with forgiveness, but then again, I am only human. I pray for the strength to carry myself through the day each and every day. I live from one minute to the next, or in my life, one moment, or event, to the next. Learning to let go has been the hardest on me. Everything else somehow just fell into place. We all are given trials and challenges in life to learn, to overcome, and to grow to be a stronger person. Those who just simply float through life have no real experiences. 2 years later, I have been divorced for going on 2 years now. I had discovered my ex-W was cheating on me with another man. During our separation and divorce, she had dated 4 other men, to the best of my knowledge, or more. I used to feel jealous, but now I can only feel bad for the guys that she dates because I am afraid that they too will get hurt. But they are big boys, so they can take care of themselves. It has been a long, rough 2 years, but it is well worth the healing. The first year was the hardest, but after the second year had started, I was feeling a little more relaxed because I had finally learned how to start letting go. Of course, the holidays are still a little rough, especially since I had lost my mother to cancer on Christmas Eve 2 years ago, but I am overcoming my anxieties and actually starting to enjoy the holidays and life again. This past 6 months have been the best for me in terms of healing. In the beginning, I have attended group therapy and counseling, but they will only get you so far. But they did provide me with some really great tools to learn how to cope and to overcome. I have had good company with friends and members of my ex's family. I'm still family to them. I had met a young lady who was going through a divorce as well. I had helped her to move to a new home, plus I had helped her to work on her car and repairs to her home. We were only friends for the past year, but things have started to change for the both of us. Just this month, this young lady and I had started developing an interest in each other. We have built up a strong foundation of friendship and trust, and we can always rely on each other when the other was feeling down or needed something done. Last month I had asked my young lady to go to Florida with me on a business trip. She accepted. She said that she has never had anyone treat her with decency and respect like I have. She still can't believe that I put her wants and needs first before mine, let alone take her on a trip. Life after divorce is hard, but after time and healing it will get better. Sometimes we need that duration of time to heal before we are ready to move on. Today I am as happy as I can be, and I'm just getting happier as each and every day passes. So, for those who are struggling with separation or divorce, I can personally testify that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes that tunnel is long for a reason, to give you the time that you need to overcome and to heal. In the end, things will always get better. In the past year, I have gotten better at handling the transition, and the realization that things had went the way that they did because they had, and there was no control over life and what has happened. I have finally learned how to let go of her and to move on, because she had no problem moving on. I couldn't live in being miserable all the time. It was just eating away at my insides. I had met a young lady about a year ago. We remained friends, occasionally calling upon each other when we had needed help with something. She was going through a divorce too, so we had something in common. We gave each other support when family and friends didn't, and that was how I had won her heart. I was a changed man because of the help that I had sought, and because of the changes that I had decided to make in my life to make myself a better person. With my confidence and courage, she had noticed that I was, after all, a good guy who could be trusted. We had started dating just a couple weeks ago, so we are still early in our relationship. But we have had so much fun together in these past 2 weeks, fun that neither of us had ever experienced with our past relationships. Just last Saturday, we had taken a road trip just out of town to Dinosaur National Monument. We live in Utah. Her car couldn't make it to Josie's Cabin, a historical landmark. So instead, we had just parked the car and talked. All of a sudden, she said that she wanted to do something crazy. I said okay, in a surprised manner. She wanted to make a snow angel. She got out of the car, buttoned up her coat, walked to the side of the road, and plopped herself back into the snow and proceeded to make a snow angel. I decided, what the heck, I will do it too. Keep in mind that she is 39, and I am 46. We had a blast doing this. After we had finished doing this and drove for a short distance, we had stopped at an overlook. She had another crazy wild idea and asked me to do something with her without asking what it was. I said sure, I'm up for game. She had put on a song on her iPhone and had asked me to dance with her on the side of the road at an overlook. I said yes. I have never danced before. It was a most wonderful feeling that I have ever had. After that we had went to the quarry and had a tour. She hasn't been to there since she was in grade school. The rest of the day had gone great. We had the most fun that we could have ever had. So, I can personally testify that good things can happen after divorce. You just need to make the necessary changes to your life, and have the patience, strength, and courage to get through your downtime. And never get into a hurry to date. All good things will happen to good people, all in good time. Story 2. Good afternoon all. Like the rest of you, I'm experiencing a dilemma. My husband and I are approaching our 1-year wedding anniversary. However, it has been nothing but issue after issue since the day we married. To make a long story short and cut to my immediate problem, we're having unresolved issues about timing. For whatever reason, he now feels as though he can come and go as he pleases. When he leaves, he never calls and never checks on me and his 15-month-old daughter. I usually don't know where he is or if he's okay until he comes home. Now, I'm pretty sure this will land us in divorce court and soon. I find this behavior highly disrespectful. He never says where he's going or when he'll be back. My position in all of this is, if you can't give details on what you're doing or where you're going, maybe you shouldn't be doing it or going there at all. And what are you doing that prevents you from making sure your wife and child are okay? Especially since he leaves hours at a time. I don't know if there's an affair going on or not. And while his behavior is not a weekly or even a monthly thing, I'm still beyond furious about it. I've tried talking to him about it. We've argued about it several times, and although not often, it's still happening, which still doesn't make it okay. I don't believe that adults should put curfews on each other. But if you're leaving your home at 9 p.m. to go out, there's no reason you should be walking back into your sleeping household later than 3:30 a.m. And if you plan on doing so, put in a call or text. I feel my husband has unfairly made me responsible for his happiness, turned unhappiness. But now that I sit and think, I've never known him to be a happy-go-lucky person. Content maybe, but it only makes sense to me that if you're an unhappy person, being married won't change that. You've just found someone to blame for being what you already were. I'm not perfect. And yes, I find myself unhappy with myself at times. And sometimes it even makes me feel like I'm unhappy with my marriage. But I never make him responsible for it. Because in the end, I know it's an issue that I need to take up with myself. Sure, I have issues with my marriage that I'm not happy with. But that doesn't make me unhappy with my marriage overall. I'm willing to work at those issues. Yes, I want to be a good wife, mother, lover, companion, etc., but I can't be his sole source of happiness. I fell for the only man I've ever dated or loved. Now, I'm considering divorcing him because I refuse to waste time, energy, and emotions further on something my H should already know, which is to love, honor, protect, and respect your wife, family, household. And in the event that you can't, be honest and say so. That way, we can all bow out gracefully. RESPECTULLY. I love hard but not often. I'm 29 and I've known my H since we were 11. I'm not broken by love, but I wouldn't marry again if I divorced. I'm sure it's hard being a man, but women carry a very heavy responsibility. If I walk away, I can live knowing I'm only responsible for my child and myself. I never suspected cheating, nor did he ever give me reason to. And he was a great provider. However, I was not willing to keep quiet about his hang out all night with all of my single buddies who don't have a life or any real responsibilities attitude. Behavior he was beginning to display. It didn't happen regularly, but it needed to stop before it turned into a bigger problem. In no way was I trying to control him. However, I do believe that too much freedom can open doors to unnecessary problems. It was disrespectful to me and the household. In addition to that, there's nothing a married man needs outside of his home after 4 a.m. After trying several times to talk about it to no avail, and after arguing several times about it to no avail, I was ready to move out of our home with our daughter, who is now 18 months. I chose to move out because I wasn't willing to go through the motions of trying to make him leave. I knew what I felt and I knew I was sticking to it. I feel like when it comes to relationships, either you're going to accept a behavior from a person or you're not. If you're going to accept it, don't complain, don't fuss. Just sit back and take it. But if you're not going to take it, do something about it. I felt that there could have been a middle ground. However, he was not trying to create one. Fast forward to now. A lot happened and eventually I did leave. We've been separated for nearly 1 month and a half. While separated, I have not attempted to talk to him about reconciling, or divorce for that matter. I left him alone in our home with his thoughts. I wanted him to figure out if he really wanted to be married, or if it means more to hang out all night with his buddies. We only speak about arrangements for our daughter. During this time, I've refocused my attention. I've been working really hard in the gym, spending a lot of time with our daughter and my family. While I have been thinking about him and our situation a lot, I haven't allowed myself to fall into depression or obsess over it. I cried a lot initially, but I knew I needed to be stronger. I know in my heart that I want to be a good wife to him and a fair one, but I want it in return. 2 days ago, I received a text out of the blue. He wanted to meet for dinner at my favorite restaurant. He disclosed that he definitely loves me and wants to work on our marriage. I wholeheartedly agreed, but one day at a time is in order. I do not intend to jump at the chance to move back home. I've been saving up and would like to continue doing so to ensure my own stability, just in case. Before I move back, I would also like to try MC, start attending church regularly and get the lines of communication back on track. 3 years later, I've been through a lot with my H. Too much. Cheating, lying, disrespect, the whole nine. My H is passive-aggressive and may even be a narcissist. He never talks about issues, never disagrees or states what he really feels. Instead, he acts out and expects me to forgive and forget when he's ready to act civilized. Again, he acts as though he doesn't realize the strain his actions have put on the marriage. So, to him, the problems that exist, tension, anger, lack of bonding, and the lack of feeling connected have nothing to do with all he's done to inflict problem on top of problem on an already unstable situation. Yesterday, I realized just how tired I am of feeling worthless, insecure, and disrespected based on his actions. I realized I'm tired of being his safe haven. I never disrespect him. I've never lied or cheated on him, and realize my loyalty to my family has allowed me to be trampled on. I think it's only by the grace of God that I haven't lost my mind. So, I asked for a divorce. I'm at a loss for solutions. I'm a nice-looking woman. I keep myself up and I hit the gym a few times a week. Our home is always clean and our child is taken care of. I work full-time and don't ask for much. I buy nice outfits and have consistently tried to add spice to our bedroom. Yet, he still chooses to act out. I've concluded, the problem lies within him and it's not my job to continue trying to fix a broken soul. It's definitely time to put an expiration date on this mess of a relationship and find myself. Again, a year later, I'm pretty down about the fact that I'm here. However, I feel a bit relieved knowing that I did all I could to save my marriage of 6 years. Deep down, I was hoping we'd stand the test of time. But as time passed and things got worse, I knew eventually I would be the one to pull the plug. I'm not sure what my husband suffers from, but I know he has a disorder and refuses to seek help or even admit something is terribly wrong, on top of having what I believe may be a personality disorder. I believe he also has a physical obsession. I've uncovered 8 affairs. It makes me cringe when I think about how many I don't know about. Yes, I've been tested. I'm clean, thank God. There has been severe emotional abuse, manipulation, and constant passive-aggressive behavior. There's also an issue with alcohol dependency. I can honestly say that if it weren't for me being a strong young woman, I would have probably had a nervous breakdown trying to understand all of the chaos, inconsistency, and immoral behavior. I've asked for a divorce before and was met with crocodile tears and promises of doing better. I've lost all hope for him, for us. I realize I'm too young, 33, to live life burdened with his issues. It would have been different if he was able to admit that something is wrong and he needs help. I would have been there the whole way through. But instead of admitting his issues and taking accountability, he blames me for his actions. I asked him why he didn't ask for a divorce before making a mess of our lives. He said, I was fighting for our marriage. He still insists he is fighting for it. I'm tired, guys, but I'll never count myself out. I'm still standing. I'm determined to give our daughter a stable, emotionally healthy, and positive upbringing. I realize I can't achieve that if I'm not healthy. So, I'm taking the steps necessary to get there. I've broken what was left of my heart today, but I know I will heal and go on to live a happier and healthier life without him. I was once that poor soul. Every time I was thrown a curved ball by him, I worked harder at the marriage. I never stepped outside of it. I've never disrespected him. The light bulb didn't turn back on. It blew up. I've known for a long time that he is broken. Something in me waited. I wanted him to finally break and ask for help. Now, I've accepted the reality of it all. My comment, I'm glad OP walked out. Yes, they took a little bit long. But it's better to make it out eventually than being stuck with the crappy situation forever. Sub and bell and see you.